Bobby, and today I would like to share with you a little of what we are personally going through right now in my household. And I'm sure that when I explain this, every single one of you parents with teenagers will say, I understand exactly what's going on. My oldest daughter, it had to do with some eye rolling and just a look, and I didn't like it. And as a result of it, um, our communication is not what it should be. So I was thinking there was a little more to it than that, otherwise I would let it go. I just don't like it. Don't get mad at me if I get offended. That's that's how I feel. Don't say something mean to me and then be mad that I don't like it. You know? So anyway, that's kind of what happened. And I was praying about how to get over this situation, how to just let it go. And I had decided, she's not talking to me. So I had decided I can show her how strong I can be. I can be strong and stubborn just like she can. So I had decided I'm not going to talk to her. I'm going to wait her out and let her come to me. I'm always the first one who approaches because I don't like tension. I don't like strife. I'm going to do everything I can to bring everyone together in harmony. Well, excuse me. What what I had been praying for was, Lord, please help me to handle this the way it needs to be handled in your will. And again, I'd made up my mind. I'm not going to talk to her. I walked from my bedroom into the living room, and it just so happened that there was a preacher on television, Pastor Joseph Prince. He was preaching about how to punish your children and how not to punish your children. He told the story of David. Now everyone knows King David as one of the best kings next to Solomon there ever was. And but unfortunately David had a lot of faults. We all know that David had a lot of faults. One of them came to how he punished his son Absalom. Now, the story is in 2 Samuel chapters 13, 14, and 15. But to condense it, Absalom killed Amnon. He is David's other son. Well, now Absalom had his own reasons, doesn't matter. He killed him, and then instead of coming to David to talk to him about it, he left. He fled the country and went to a faraway place and stayed there for about 3 years. And it got to where David's heart was just lonely. He wanted to see his son. He hadn't seen him. So he sent for him to come home. But now here's where the key is for me that I just don't get it. So put yourself in Absalom's place. After 3 years, in essence, being exiled because Absalom left, no one came after him. No one cared enough to come and say, hey, what's going on? Let's work this out. He left, that was it. So David actually lost two sons. Well, Absalom gets the message that David wants him to come home. So imagine, the Bible doesn't say this, but imagine how he felt. Finally, my father is accepting me. Finally, my father has forgiven me. My father loves me. So he gathers up his wife and 5 children, and they travel the journey back home, and David refuses him deliberately, intentionally. That is planned. And the Bible doesn't say this, but David's the king. In order for the king to refuse someone, it's not like Absalom went to his door, knocked on his door, and David told him, I don't want to see you. No, David's the king. So David had his people, told all of his people, don't let Absalom come here. So Absalom was never allowed into the gates. Absalom was never allowed into David's presence. He was never allowed the opportunity to make it right. I'm not saying an apology needs to be made in every situation, but there does need to be some reconciliation, and Absalom was never given that opportunity. So out of his hurt, his feeling of rejection, he began planning and plotting against his father. Now, he did this because he was hurt. This is what happens when a punishment goes too far. That plot ended in I'm sorry. That plot ended in Absalom's death. So, what was the point? What was the whole point? I don't find one. When Absalom killed Amnon, David lost two sons, all because he didn't take the time and talk with his son Absalom. And the purpose of punishment is to teach a lesson. If that lesson results in death, there's no coming back from that. So, that's what I walked into. After I had made up my mind, I'm going to not talk to her until she comes to me and talks to me. And immediately that was God telling me, no, that's not the way you should handle this. So, in my praying and reading and trying to understand the story and trying to put myself in the middle of that story, the first thing I did was I told my daughter how much I love her unconditionally, always and forever. I will always love her. I am her mother. And I let her know that there is a punishment. She has kitchen duty for a few days. But it's a very small punishment because it's a very small disrespect. The whole point with me is if she disrespects me and doesn't listen when I give a direct rule, when I say you have to do something or you cannot do something, and she knows it and she does it anyway, then it's disrespecting my authority. And it doesn't matter if it's a big deal or a small deal, it doesn't matter. The point is, I told her not to do something, she did it anyway. And I don't like that. If she disrespects me and my authority, who she can see and talk to and ask questions and discuss it with, what is she going to do about God's authority? The authority from the Bible. When we read stories like David and Absalom, my heart goes out to both because in that situation, there was no winner. There was no winner. Absalom thought he was justified in killing Amnon. Amnon raped Absalom's sister. So Absalom thought he was justified. But instead of coming to David to work it out and to talk it out, he thought he would be killed. But you never know what somebody's going to do or say. As I said in one of my other videos, things that I realize is people can't read my mind. Well, we can't read other people's minds. The only way we're going to resolve an issue is open and honest communication. That's it. Open and honest communication. One last thing, I'm going to close here. One last thing I want to say is to you parents who have teenagers, please remember that they're going through issues that you have no idea what it's about. You have no idea who looked at them wrongly at school. You have no idea who made a comment that didn't sit well with them. You have no idea how they're feeling on the inside. The only thing that you can control is to make sure that they know they are loved and treasured. And to me, that's our biggest job as parents, especially parents of teenagers. We have to let them know that they are loved and they are treasured. God bless you. Bye bye.